Okay, so I've given you the background. So, um, if you could please give me your own definition of cultural competence and how it could help a growing mind.
Well, I guess the term cultural competence can take on a lot of different meanings. I think you want to narrow it down to cultural competence as it relates to travel.
Yes, as in, it doesn't have to be international. It doesn't have to be just local. Just broadening your horizons in general. Just leaving an environment. You know
You
what I
know,
mean?
everything you say is very true because I think that students such as yourself who grew up around here in suburban Philadelphia really can have a cultural experience by traveling into Center City, Philadelphia. I know many kids who grow up in the suburbs seem to think that Philadelphia has a very negative connotation about it, and there would be no reason in the world to go there, and their life would be in danger if they were to travel into the big city. However, I remember a couple of years ago, I decided that I would take my College 101 class into the city for a cultural experience such as the one that you are talking about. Many of them had never ridden a train before, believe it or not. So we took the train from the Radnor station. We went into Philly, and the first thing we did when we got there was to have lunch at the Reading Terminal Market. And rather than have everyone eat at the same place and all together, I decided they could spread out and go explore throughout the market. And I think that that was their first adventure into something culturally different from that to which they were accustomed, because those kinds of places don't exist around here. After that, we did something historic, and I, of course, took them to, many of them had been to Independence Hall and Betsy Ross House and those kinds of things, but I took them to the new Constitution Center, new at the time, and let them explore in there. And I also think that that broadened their horizons. From there, we toured around a little bit, and then dinner was going to be on South Street. And a lot of these kids had heard a lot about South Street, but I don't think that they had ever really experienced it. And again, I let them explore on their own, gave them a couple of hours, and I really think that when we went back to the classroom and discussed our day in Philadelphia, a lot of them had grown in any number of ways from that short little 4 or 5 hours in Philadelphia in which they spent doing things that they wouldn't normally do on a Friday or whatever day of the week that it was. I think every time we travel somewhere, and whether we taste new things, talk to new people, see different sights, naturally we're expanding our cultural horizons, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. I do.
The problem is, and I know that you're focusing on this as well, sometimes our students who are more economically challenged don't have the extra spending money to do things like this. And fortunately, that time that I took my class down, we were given